In today's video, I'm gonna try to get Ringless franchises a Super Bowl win in the Madden with their highest overall. Now, the only catch is that we're only doing one sim per team in each Madden. But don't worry, that Madden will be their best possible chance in all the Maddens that have ever existed. But first, we have some super chats. Jack Siegel says every team's best safety of all time. Now, that's kind of like what we did with the every team's best defensive player, but that might be something we do later down the line. I might look into individual defensive players in the future. Thanks for the donation. Also, Brahmi, hopefully I'm pronouncing these names right. He says, love the vids. Thank you, my guy. And then Poggers says, idea. What if every NFL team had their best tight end? Are you reading my mind, bro? What's going on, man? That's definitely on the menu. Just stay tuned. Thanks for all the donations. Now let's get back to the video. We begin with the Jacksonville Jaguars, whose best overall in any Madden was a 95 in Madden 01. So that's where we begin our experiment. Taking a look at the depth chart. Mark Brunell at quarterback, 90 overall. Very solid. Fred Taylor, 93. Elite running back right there. You got a good fullback. Jimmy Smith, Keenan McCardell, very nice duo. Tight end, Kyle Brady. Boselli at left tackle, one of the best of his era. Right tackle, we have Leon Searcy. So you can see teams looking really good. 95 overall. Tony Brackens, 93 MLB, and Hardy Nickerson, Kevin Hardy, two really good cornerbacks. Carnell Lake. Oh my, okay, so the team is very solid. Injuries are going to be off, going to be on all Madden in 8-minute quarters. Oh my good, they're starting off terrible, 1-4 to begin the season. Hopefully they can turn things around. There we go. Now we're talking. They string together a nice win streak to end the season. 10-6, 5th place in the AFC, 5th in the NFL in total yards, 4th in total offense. They had the best run game in the league, 3rd in terms of points per game. Defense forced a lot of turnovers. They were 1st in interceptions. Brunell with 28 tutties, 7 interceptions. Really good season. Fred Taylor, 1,800 yards, 21 touchdowns. Disgusting, man. Jimmy Smith, 1,000-yard season with 10 touchdowns. McCardell was not far behind. 6 INTs for Donovan Darius to lead everyone. 9 sacks for Nickerson. So here we go. We're going to simulate the playoffs. In a wild card, they have a game against the Chiefs, and they catch the W 31-17. And then they lose to the Colts 27-24. A great run by this 95 overall Jacksonville team. Unfortunately, they could not go all the way. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans, who are a 92 overall in Madden 05. So that's where we begin this one. Steve Air McNair was a 96 overall. Eddie George, 85. Derek Mason, Drew Bennett, and Tyrone Calico. That's a nice trio wide receiver. 87 overall Kenny at tight end. Brad Hopkins left tackle. 90 overall left guard. I mean, look at this O-line. Absolutely filthy. D-line's looking pretty good as well. Hainsworth, 90 overall D tackle. I mean, this is just a disgusting lineup. 96 overall. Keith Bullock at right out. Samari Roll. There's no weaknesses. All right, we're going to sim to the playoffs. We'll get gameplay later in the video when we reach the Maddens with Super Sim. They go 8-8, but make it into the playoffs by winning their division. McNair with only one more touchdown than interception. Eddie George with 881 yards. Mason led the team with 946 yards. It was their defense that really drugged them to the playoffs. 8 sacks from Bullock. He tied with Dyson for the most picks on the team. But now they have a wild card game against the Chiefs. They catch the W 20-13 against Kansas City, but then lose 9-17 against the Jets. So we've seen both teams so far get a playoff win, but no one has been able to win the Super Bowl. Next up, we have a 3-1 special. The Cincinnati Bengals were a 94 overall in Madden 07. The Carolina Panthers were a 95 overall in Madden 07. And then the Arizona Cardinals were an 89 overall in Madden 07. So that's our next stop in this video. Here's the Bengals depth chart. 95 Carson Palmer. They have 3 Johnsons starting on their offense. Ocho Cinco and Hushman Zada. Nasty wide receiver duo. Defense, they have a nice front 7. Even better secondary. Delta O'Neal leading away at cornerback. So they're looking solid. Let's see what the Cardinals are looking like. Kurt Warner leading away at quarterback. Edgerrin James, 96. Fitzgerald and Bolden. No wonder why. This is their highest overall Madden rating. Their offense is special. Defense, not quite as good, but they still have a very solid D-line. Dansby at left out. Antrell Roll. Adrian Wilson at at safety, so another really good roster. And finally, Jake Delhomme was a 92 overall quarterback for the Panthers. Foster and Williams, nice running back duo. 97 overall, Steve Smith. Johnson behind him. O-line's ridiculous. D-line's even better. 390 plus overalls. As a matter of fact, the lowest overall starter on the entire defense is 85 overall, Thomas Davis. So we're hoping at least one of these teams wins the Super Bowl. It'll be dope if we can get 2 out of 3 to make it there. Panthers end up second in the NFC, 12-4, but the Cardinals end up 7-9, missing out on the postseason. The Bengals miss out as well. They go 6-10. So only 1 out of our 3 teams make it. Palmer had a really good season for Cincinnati. 28 touchdowns, only 11 picks. 1,200 yards for Rudy Johnson. Ocho with 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns. 6 picks for Dexter Jackson to lead them, and 11 sacks for Justin Smith. Kurt Warner with 28 touchdowns, only 5 picks. Disgusting ratio. 1,700 yards for Edgerrin James. 1,000-yard season for Larry Legend. 10 touchdowns for Bolden through the air. 6 INTs for Shazor, and 8 sacks for Bertrand Berry. But look at this season from Jake Delhomme. 39 touchdowns, only 8 picks. 3,900 yards. 1,500 yards for Deshaun Foster. So they were firing on all cylinders. Steve Smith with a 1,600-yard season. 21 touchdowns. 2 shy of the record, I'm pretty sure. Minter and Diggs with 4 picks. 9 sacks apiece for Peppers and Rucker. Here they go in the divisional against the Giants. Super Sim's still not an option yet, so we're just gonna sim to the Super Bowl and see if they can make it happen. They win 27-19 against New York and then lose 24-17 in the conference championship. So none of the teams in Madden 07 made it to the Super Bowl, but the Panthers end up the farthest. Still a really solid season. Now, Minnesota's highest overall was a 91 in Madden 2000. Unfortunately, I do not have that one. I go as far back as Madden 2001. So their next best Madden rating is a 90 overall in Madden 09. Not to mention, the Browns were an 88 overall in Madden 09, and the Chargers were a 95 overall in Madden 09. So that's our next stop. Derek Anderson at quarterback for Cleveland. Jamal Lewis. Vickers, that's a nasty running back fullback duo. 95 Braylon Edwards. 97 Kellen Winslow. O-line's disgusting. How did the Browns not make noise with this team around this time period? I mean, look at the roster. Lowest overall in defense is 84. You have Willie McGinnis, Rodgers. So much talent. I'll be shocked if they don't make the playoffs. And then, of course, the Chargers. 90 overall Rivers. 99 LT. And Antonio Gates. O-line has 393 plus overalls. You have 91 Chris Chambers at wide receiver. And their defense is not far behind. You have a 97 Sean Merriman. 97 Williams. Another team I'll be shocked if they don't make the playoffs. And then finally the Vikings. Tarvaris Jackson leading the way with a 95 AD at running back. 96 McKinney at left tackle. 98 Steve Hutchinson. And a 95 Burke. Left side, the offensive line is filthy. Defense, 297 overalls on the D-line. Winfield at cornerback. So much talent. I expect all 3 of these teams to make it. Sim into the playoffs. If you haven't already, destroy the like button. Consider it some good luck for these teams. We're trying to get at least one of these franchises a Super Bowl. Also, subscribe if you're new around here. We do a ton of videos like these. Browns make it to the playoffs. They go 10-6. Chargers win their division. They go 9-6-1. But unfortunately, the Vikings go 6-10 and miss out on the postseason. 2 out of 3 is not bad, man. Here's the Browns stats. 21 touchdowns, 14 picks for Anderson. Jamal Lewis, 1,000-yard season. Braylon almost had a 1,000-yard season through the air. 8 sacks for Wembley and Rodgers. 3 INTs for McDonald. As for the Chargers, 26 tutties, 8 INTs for Rivers. Nice ratio. 1,500 yards for LT. Him and Sproles combined for over 2,000. 1,100-yard season for Chris Chambers with 10 touchdowns to go along with it. And then 12 sacks for Igor. 3 picks for Cromartie and Hart. And then Tarvaris Jackson only threw 4 more touchdowns than picks. Turned it over a little bit too much. Adrian was doing his thing. 1,400 yards. Almost 6 yards per carry. Rice led the team with 800 yards receiving. 9 sacks for Jared Allen. 7 for Edwards. 4 people with 2 picks apiece. Chargers taking on the Browns in the wild card. You can't make this up. Only one team's gonna remain. Now we have Super Sim. Here we go, man. We're gonna sim to the end of the game. Maybe hop in if it's really close. Who's gonna strike first in this one? This is a huge game. Chargers off to a 6-0 start. start. 13-0 after one. There we go. Browns finally get on the board in the second quarter, keeping it close. They take the lead. Heading into halftime. 14-13 Cleveland and San Diego get back on top. There we go. They get a field goal. We're in the fourth quarter now. Chargers extend their lead with another field goal. It's a very close game. We're gonna hop in and watch this bad boy. 3rd and 13. Browns down 2 with less than 2 minutes 30 seconds left. Can Derek Anderson throw a laser? No! It ends up being intercepted. 3rd and goal. Can they punch it into the end zone? LT not gonna get there. Good stop from the Browns. Anderson with one timeout left. Gonna start with a dot. First down Browns. Lewis going out for a route. Titans only send one guy at Anderson, which gives him a clean pocket. They're across midfield. 13 seconds. No way to stop the clock unless they get out of bounds or throw an incompletion. Anderson going over the middle. Intercepted. Eric Weddle helps the Chargers get to the next round. Rivers outplays Anderson. 3 picks from the Cleveland quarterback. LT 223 yards. He went bonkers in this one. And now his team has a chance to get to the big game. Unfortunately, they lose to Peyton and the Colts in the divisional. So we end up 0-3 in Madden 09. Next up, we have the Detroit Lions, who are an 86 overall in Madden 99, Madden 02, and Madden 13. And then we also have the Houston Texans, who are an 88 overall in Madden 19 and Madden 13. So here we go in 13. That's our next stop. Quarterback Matthew Stafford, 85 overall. Javid Best, Kevin Smith, not a bad one too. Obviously Megatron, who was a 99. I don't know why he's down to a 97, but they don't let you edit players in this Madden, which is why I was trying to avoid it as much as possible. But unfortunately, we gotta rock with it. You know what I'm saying? O-line's looking really solid. Averill at left end, 92 and Ndamukong Suh with 100 physicality. Kyle Vandenbosch, so D-line looking disgusting. Front 7 with an 89 Stephen Tulloch, 83 DeAndre Levy, Chris Houston at CB1, and Eric Coleman at safety. Okay, not too bad. As for the Texans, they have 82 overall Matt Schaub, 91 Arian Foster, and a 94 Andre Johnson. So really solid offense with an 86 Owen Daniels, Dwayne Brown at left tackle, 92 overall. You have JJ Watt, Antonio Smith, Brian Cushing at MLB, cornerback Jonathan Joseph in his prime, Daniel Manning, Glover Quinn. Okay, another solid roster. Lions end up with the 1 seed in the NFC, 13-3. Meanwhile, the Texans do not make it. They go 7-9. 39 touchdowns, only 13 picks for Stafford, 4,500 yards. Best with 1,100 yards, living up to his last name. Megatron, 100 receptions, 1,200 yards. Levy with the most tackles on the team, but look at that, 17 sacks on Ndamukong Suh to lead everyone. 5 picks for Levy, 4 for Smith. Only 5 more touchdowns than picks for Schaub, 3,500 yards. Foster did his thing, 1,300 yards on the ground. Him and Tate combined for over 2,000. Andre Johnson with 100 plus receptions, 1,100 yards. Cushing leads them in tackling. Most sacks goes to Antonio Smith. Watt had 6, and the most picks went to Brady James. Here we go, Lions against the Eagles in the divisional. The Eagles end up getting a 10-0 lead. Detroit does strike in the second quarter, keeping it close, 14-19 at the start of half number 2, but the Eagles are taking off. They're up 6 in the fourth quarter. Oh, wait a minute, Detroit with a late game comeback, but it's to no avail. I would have hopped in, but there's no controller select for whatever reason once you already hop into the game, so had to stay in Super Sim. Stafford tried his best, but Vic in that offense was a little bit better. That 1 pick was very costly. Shady with 2 touchdowns on the ground. Megatron 5 for 80. He did his best, but we're 0 for 2 in Madden 13 with only a couple franchises remaining. Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons, whose best overall was a 91 in both Madden 18 and Madden 19. So we're gonna go with the latter. Matty Ice leading away, 89 overall. Running back 91 Devontae and Tevin Coleman. Nasty duo. Julio was a 98, yet Sanu Ridley. Matthews left tackle, 90 overall. Alex Mack at center. On defense, Vic Beasley 82, McKinley same thing. Jarrett, another team with a nasty front 7. You have 90 Deion Jones, 93 Trufant along with Alford. Solid secondary. Neil is strong safety. I'm feeling good about this one. I think they can easily make the playoffs. They end up going 12-4 with the first wildcard spot. Taking a look at their schedule, they start off 0-1, but then went on a long winning streak. They don't seem to do well after a long layoff. So hopefully they can keep this win streak going. Matt Ryan wins MVP. He had the most passing yards and touchdowns, 45, and only 13 picks. Freeman with 1,200 yards, 13 touchdowns. If you remember, he was a really good dual threat running back. Look at that. 45 catch, 600 yards, 11 touchdowns for Ridley, 9 for Julio with 1,300 yards. Most sacks goes to McKinley, 11.5. Beasley had 9. And then 5 INTs for Ricardo Allen and 4 for Keanu. Big wildcard game against the Cowboys. All right, let's see this offense in action. They had the most yards on the season. They were very prolific around this time period. You had an MVP, Matt Ryan, leading the way in real life as well. So, you know, they definitely were capable of winning it all. We know what happened in the big game. Devontae with the first. A lot of depth at multiple positions. 3rd and 2. And they capped this drive off with a touchdown. Here comes the blitz and the touchdown with the first points of the game. It's 17-3 in the second quarter. 24-3. 4 points away from that dreaded number. But this one is going to end with a Falcons W. Good game from Matty Ice. Oh, 2 interceptions. Okay, so he didn't play perfect, but he did well enough, man. That defense was cooking as well. All right, time to sim to the Super Bowl. They took care of business in the first game. Can they do it again? Unfortunately, they lose in the divisional 20-38 against New Orleans. Another solid season, but once again, it's not easy to win the Super Bowl. Like, even just making a deep playoff run is a good season. Only one team is going to go home with the Lombardi, so it's not the end of the world. One team remaining. We have the Buffalo Bills, who are in 89 in Madden 2000 and Madden 23. So we are in the most recent Madden with Josh Allen leading the way, Damian Harris at running back, Diggs and Davis wide receiver, Knox tight end. I updated them as much as possible with all the free agent acquisitions and things like that. Rousseau 84 overall, Von Miller of course, Ed Oliver. They do have Leonard Floyd at left out now. That's a nice addition, but they lost Edmonds, so that's a huge change. Still have Tre'Davious, Teron Johnson, Micah Hyde and Poyer, one of the best safety duos. They go pretty far in most of these simulations, so I'm hoping they end this off with a nice run. They finish above 500, but they are unlucky and they don't make it to the playoffs. Allen finishes 5th in MVP voting. Has himself a good season. 4,600 yards, 28 touchdowns, and 10 picks. Harris was less than 60 yards away from 1,000. Allen 10 rushing touchdowns. Diggs 1,600 yards, 117 receptions. They put up great stats. I mean, look at that. 20 sacks from Vaughn, 14.5 from Oliver. They just got unlucky, man. Still a good season. Good effort from all of these teams. But there you have it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you on the next one.